Hello folks, welcome back to my channel. A couple of days ago I was writing a chapter of my book. This book project has been in the works for nearly 8 or 9 months. So I have periods of inspiration. I'll write a chapter, 2 chapters, and then I put it back, I put it away, and then I get very involved in the matters of the world, family, finances, jobs, this and that, and I put it away. This book is actually the closest to my soul and the expression of my soul than anything else that I do, the regular job I have done in the past for an income, or any all the worldly things I do, all the interactions with people, all the activities, events. Like, yes, that's part of a part of my personality. But this book that I've been writing, there's actually two in the works at the moment, and I jump between the two books. There are periods of time that I give to one, and then I'll get inspired to, so they're kind of being birthed in parallel. And I have been in a transition. I have been in a death rebirth portal, and a large part of my identity and the old way, or a large part of my self-concept or self-view is dissolving, or has mostly dissolved. I'm kind of now being pulled by the currents of life, by the energetic currents, into the new. And so the books and this work that I share here on holistic lifestyle medicine, the work that I share on my Substack, they're all part of the new journey where I'm headed. But the new doesn't always arrive very easily. There is so much of internal structure, internal architecture that is tied with the old life that has to first also, well, it's not always like very linear. The old dissolves, the new arrives. The old is dissolving, crumbling, and fresh inspiration and fresh currents are also coming in at the same time. I'm thinking of like there's parts of the beach where there'll be old water stagnant. And I mean, I live in Australia. There's so much beach and so much coastline here. So my examples can sometimes come from the ocean, and there'll be these tides that'll bring in fresh water and push out the old stagnant water that has maybe stagnated in rock pools. And I find that a death and rebirth cycle is very similar, where a lot of your old identity is dying out, but you're also being taken to something new. So anyway, coming back to the book was kind of on a back burner for many months, for these last few months, this winter season. It's been a very energetically intense season for me, as a lot of my old identity has been shedding, related to work that I have always done, related to my place in the world, or who I believed a part of my architecture has been dissolving, that was tied to that identity. So yeah, there's been a lot of purging, a lot of grief, a lot of internal processing of, I'm in this like in-between place. Where am I headed now? What am I going to be doing in the next chapter of my life? And sometimes the next chapter is not even very visible, right? It's coming in very slowly while the old is going. And so sometimes the example again is like being in the middle of the ocean, like the shore. You have left your like your old, like your starting point, wherever you set sail from. Like, you can no longer see it, but you can't see the arrival shore either yet, because you're somewhere in the middle. So that's kind of been the space that I've been in these last few months in this winter. Well, now I'm like really feeling like I'm going into the new, and I picked up the book. So after this diversion here and there, we'll come back to the book. So I picked it up, and I was getting a bit frustrated with my lack of progress, because I was like, well, if the old is going, my old identity, the work I used to do, and the meaning and the future projections that I had created from within that old identity, all of that's gone. I can't think of where I'm going. But what am I interests, what lights me up. Let me just focus on that. If nothing else is happening, let me just focus on the things that I know I truly love doing, which is writing about lifestyle medicine, about transformation, about spiritual transformation, about decolonization, all of those things that you know that I love talking about on this channel. So I was kind of feeling very frustrated that I wasn't stuck in this limbo and I wasn't giving time to this book. So I picked it up and I said, I'm just going to write today. Doesn't matter how I'm feeling, doesn't matter how stuck I'm feeling. If you've been in these in-between periods of your life, if you've been in these in-between portals of your life, these liminal spaces or these transition places, you'll find that, yeah, it's not easy. It's very confronting because what was familiar, what was routine, what anchored you has gone. And what is the new that's going to anchor you, that's going to start becoming more familiar, hasn't yet arrived. And so there can be great amount of resistance, there can be a great amount of frustration, grief, a lot of this like energetic soup within which I have been sitting, and one can feel like you just cannot go to the next thing. Like, what am I, like you don't feel motivated or inspired in the same way as when you're fully within a chapter of your life. So I had to really push and start writing. And I wrote a few chapters, right? I wrote, I think, 2 or 3 chapters. And after that, my nervous system went into a complete shutdown. I just had to spend half the day in bed. And I'm thinking, what is going on? And long story short, and you'll wonder why I'm relating this story. How does this tie back to lifestyle medicine? I'll tell you why. Because I realized that our nervous systems are so deeply conditioned to safety, security, and our safety and security comes from compliance. We learn very early on to comply with the rules. We comply with the rules of the family of our birth, of our parents, of our extended relatives, of our culture, our cultural norms, our religious norms. If you're born within a religion, there'll be very strong religious structures and religious norms that you have to comply with, otherwise you'll be thrown out of the tribe. And then our schooling. So we then, comply with the teachers and the schooling curriculum, and then we comply with the society at large. And by the time we are adults, our nervous systems are deeply, deeply wired to stay compliant so that we can be safe. Now, think about a child. As a child, you are always moving towards your desire. So in this moment you want to play, you'll just go and have a play. The next moment you want to eat an ice cream, you'll just, oh, there's a piece of chocolate, I'm just going to grab this chocolate. Oh, now I want to eat, or now I want to play, now I want to fling mud, or I want to put mud in my mouth, or it's a very feeling experience through the body, and it's a very moment to moment experience based of impulses, based of desire in the child. And of course there's a process of socialization that's also, I guess, necessary for us to kind of function within the norms and structures of a society that we kind of are born into. We inherit these structures, these systems that we're going to be living in, working in, playing in. Like we have to we've got to learn that we can't fart in public or burp at someone's face, or we've got to say excuse me if we burp, or I don't know, like you've got to learn all these things, of course, like you can't, I agree there's some amount of socialization, but what happens, and this is something I completely, like when I go back to my childhood and when I connect to my childhood, is there's also like a complete stifling of the child's natural desire, of their natural urges. There's a complete deprivation of the child's natural desire. So wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do in the moment, it's completely like, no, you can't do this now. No, you can't do this now. No, this is, and it's all of that structure of parent oppression. I'll call it oppression. I know they're well-meaning and they love us, but literally it's oppression. Because when I look at things from the perspective of the life force, in the body, and the natural blueprint of that human, and the natural life force of that human. Where does that want to go? What does that want to create? What is it feeling more curious towards? Is that ever really honored? Is that ever really acknowledged? No, because we have to be beaten into shape. And I know I use very, very direct language here. We have to be beaten into shape and we have to become compliant, because we have to fit within the mold, and we have to stay, become contributing cogs in the wheel of the economic machinery as we grow up. So the point I'm trying to make is, and this will all tie back together, friends, I've taken you on a few different journeys. From a very early age in our lives, we learn to stifle natural and pure desire. We learn to not move in the direction of our desire, but move into the direction of safety and security, and safety and security comes from compliance. And so in our lives later on, when your soul desires awaken again, if you're going to be on the journey of spiritual transformation, if you're going to be on the journey of liberation, self-realization, self-actualization, your soul desires will awaken again. They will not be, they've not been suppressed. Let's just say they've not been suppressed enough in your childhood. So they'll wake up again. And they've been waking up in me in these last 10 years slowly. And so I've shifted my lifestyle drastically. I've shifted my perspectives. I have shed so many old identities. I have died and been born again so many times. I don't even know how many times I've done that. And the whole movement, the current of life now is taking me more and more towards my soul's desires. Like, it's clear now. in just today, I just look at it, it's like there's only going to be one way. It's not even going to be the highway. It's not like one way or the highway. It's just this one way that life is taking me, and life will not listen. Life will, because it's part of my higher self, it's part of my larger plan, is to move towards my soul's desire. My soul's desire is in the direction of everything that I talk about here. How does that take shape? Through my writing, through the videos here. Hope to do webinars. I hope to do podcasts in the future. But it's starting with this book that I'm writing. And what happened as soon as I started to write that book, or at least I've been writing it for a while, but after an extended period of time, I decided to re-engage with it. I sat down. I said, okay, I'm going to write it again. And my nervous system threw a tantrum, just went into shutdown. Because the body keeps score, our nervous systems keep score. Our conscious mind cannot make sense of our subconscious, of our unconscious, and of what has been imprinted on our nervous system from the time we were children. So the nervous system interpreted moving towards my soul's desire as unsafe. And it said, no, too scary, don't go there. While doing my regular job that I've been doing, that I went and did a degree in, like, that has always felt so safe, because that's familiar, because that's come out of deep conditioning towards compliance and safety and security, and being seen in the world as someone that everyone else can also feel comfortable around. Because honestly, what I'm talking about here is not for the masses. It's for a very small group of people that might be on very similar journeys as I am. And so I can't, when I'm doing my regular, or I used to do my regular technology job, in the eyes of the world, they can make sense of me. They can place me somewhere in the structure. This is outside of the structure. This is outside of the mainstream structures, right? Everything that I talk about here, or I write on my Substack, or I'm going to be writing about in my book. And when you step outside the structure, you become very unfamiliar to people around you. I have digressed. I'll come back to nervous system and familiarity. So when my nervous system went like that, I had to spend a bit of time, but the next day I'm back at it, and today I've written another chapter. But what I wanted to tie this all back to is lifestyle medicine is also the journey of self-actualization. When I write that book and I put it out there, that is me self-actualizing, finally. That is me having deconditioned enough of everything that I had to do to stay safe, secure by complying. And now I'm actually moving towards my natural blueprint, my natural human design, what I'm here to do. And this is a chapter. 10 years later, I might be doing something else. I'm not saying there's one fixed thing that we do in our entire lives. I'm saying for this season, I'm moving more towards my truth, more towards my essence, more towards what feels right in the body, in the heart, in the soul. But yes, there will be a period of fear. There will be a period of doubt. There will be all of the all of the stuff will come up and say, no, this is too dangerous. No, where are you headed? No, you can't go there, because these voices. But if you ask these voices are from the childhood. These voices are the voices of adult and authority figures in your life that basically from a very early age imprinted upon you that when you go towards what you desire, that's essentially not approved of. It's actually not approved of. So that's what we learned very early on. And so, yes, lifestyle medicine is about healing. It is about coming into greater peace, greater stillness in the body. It's about healing chronic illness. It's about healing chronic stress. It's all of those things. And I've been focusing on all of that a lot. But today I wanted to really impress upon this other aspect to it, this other angle to it, that when we come into this journey of lifestyle medicine, when we start to live in ways or shift our ways, and we start to live in ways that become our medicine, essentially that's what lifestyle medicine is. Our life is our medicine. Everything we choose every day is our medicine. So when we start to live lifestyle medicine, yes, it will make us feel a lot better, a lot less stressed. It might even get rid of the eczema or the autoimmune condition or the anxiety, the depression. It'll get rid of all of that, but it will also bring about self-actualization. It could bring about self-actualization. And that, I believe, is the gift that is most ignored, or maybe not even considered or discussed when we talk about lifestyle medicine in the mainstream, because that's always around health and well-being and peace and vitality. And yes, that's all amazing. But for me, as I'm directly seeing, the gift is also self-actualization. And self-actualization is liberation. I believe it's liberation. I believe it's self-realization. Yeah, so that's what I want to talk about today in this video. Thank you.